Let's now shift focus to the other big story. This time, during the 2016 elections, Donald Trump, the winner, was busy in Mar-a-Lago enjoying his electoral victory, not announcing a single name of his administration. But times have changed and so has Trump. A week since the elections, the Republican Party is in control of the trifecta, the House, the Senate and the White House. And Trump has already announced 18 of his main men and women. This is how it is looking like right now. With special focus on foreign policy, Marco Rubio has been picked for Secretary of State. Mike Waltz will be fronting national security. Kristi Noem will be heading Homeland Security. And she will be closely working with Trump's border czar, Tom Homan. For the first time, a woman will take the post of Chief of Staff. Trump has named Susie Wiles. Pete Hegseth has been nominated to be the next Defense Secretary. Trump's appointee to lead the Department of Justice is going to be critical, with Matt Gaetz leading it. His Senate confirmation is likely to be a difficult one, as some Republicans are not a fan of his. John Ratcliffe has been nominated for heading CIA. Trump's named Lee Zeldin to handle the Environmental Protection Agency, a man known to be one of the staunchest supporters of Israel and does not believe in the term Palestinian. Mike Huckabee, that is, has been listed to become the ambassador to Israel. Elise Stefanik has been named as the ambassador to United Nations. And lastly but not the least, the most interesting pick is Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy. They will create a non-federal department that will ensure government efficiency. Now that we know the skeleton of Trump's second administration, let's understand if there is any meat on those bones. Our focus tonight is on foreign policy. We start from the two wars. The war in Gaza is well in its second year, and it has managed to rope in other regional powers. In the thick of it, supporting and arming Israel is the United States of America. We have two appointments that suggest that this support will not only continue under Trump, might actually increase. Trump has named Mike Huckabee to become US's ambassador to Israel. The far rights in Israel were the first to congratulate Huckabee. Holding a press conference in 2017 West Bank, Huckabee said, and I'm quoting, "There's no such thing as settlement. There are communities, there are neighborhoods, there are cities. There's no such thing as an occupation." Time and again, Trump has said that had he been the president, there would be no war in Ukraine. Well, his foreign policy's power will be put to test as he returns to the White House next January. Trump hasn't said as much about the war in Ukraine than the war in West Asia, but he has talked about being hostile towards sanctioning military aid to Ukraine. We see that in his appointment of the man who is going to head the Pentagon. Pete Hegseth has been sharply critical of US's European allies, including Ukraine. In fact, just last week in a podcast, Hegseth said, and I'm quoting again, "If Ukraine can defend themselves, great. But I don't want American intervention driving deep into Europe and making Putin feel like he's so much on his heels." China, a country that has been long seen America's arch rival. Beijing is closely tracking Trump's appointment to prepare for the next 4 years. And it is picking on some hints for Trump's appointment of his next Secretary of State. Marco Rubio is a renowned hawk when it comes to China. In the latest report on the country's industrial policy, Rubio wrote, and I'm quoting again, "Through theft, market-distorting subsidies and strategic planning, Beijing now leads in many of the industries that will determine geopolitical supremacy in the 21st century." And lastly, we return home. Will Trump's return be a good news for India? Experts are predicting the ties will be transactional. And the Indian policies that have put New Delhi at odds with the West will no longer be a cause of concern for Washington. We try and understand this through Trump's nomination of his National Security Advisor. Mike Waltz is the co-chair of the Congressional India Caucus. He recently said, and I'm quoting again, "The bottom line, US-India is the most important relationship of the 21st century. This will determine whether this is a century of light or a century of darkness. Now, all of this is set to decide how America, as well as the world, will change for at least the next 4 years. And to get us the latest, our correspondent Susan Tehrani is joining us live from New York. Susan, good to see you. What is the latest you have for us?
Yeah, as you mentioned, Donald Trump is really rolling out these appointments one after the other at a very fast pace, which indicates that he was ready to get on the ground and running. And that's what the American people wanted. We saw that not only in the electoral votes, but in the popular vote as well. They wanted a departure from the Biden administration's globalist policies and those individuals who were at the helm of that administration. You mentioned Pete Hegseth, Marco Rubio, Mike Waltz, and others. But I think it'll be interesting to see how America and the world will see someone like the nomination of Attorney General Matt Gaetz, who's a controversial figure. Not only there was a federal probe for sexual misconduct and illicit drug use against him, these are allegations, but there was also a ethics probe regarding that as well in Congress. So he resigned. So those probes will not be made public. They were due to be made public this week. And it'll be interesting to see whether or not he'll get those confirmation hearings. Remember, he was also the person that sort of messed up the House and got rid of House Speaker Kevin McCarthy and replaced him. So, some believe that that was the right thing to do. Others believe that, it was taking things too far, like a bull in a China store. So, that's going to be controversial. I'll also be interested to see how the confirmation hearing of Tulsi Gabbard for DNI is going to go. She is an excellent choice, according to many. She understands the politics of the Democrats. She used to be a Democrat, and now she's more of an American First Trump supporter. So she understands both sides. She may face some pushback because during the time that she was a Democrat, she met with Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. But she also has those non-interventionist tendencies. She didn't agree with America's involvement in Syria, and she definitely doesn't want to see America's involvement in any way when it comes to Russia and Ukraine. So you have these individuals that really want to push America back, a more isolationist approach, at least when it comes to wars. That seems to be promising. We'll have to wait and see how they are confirmed. And of course, the relationship with Israel was always going to be very strong under the Trump administration. Remember, he was the architect of the Abraham Accords.
Absolutely. Susan, thank you so much for all those updates from New York. For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.